I've been asked to come along today and just speak about the process that I went through, taking the Portering team from the legacy systems that it was using through to what it is now. My slides are nowhere near as good as Mr. Rogers there, so I'll try my best to just go through there and talk to you about the process I went through, the methodologies behind it, and hopefully if you've got anything you're looking to do, this might give you a bit of a steer on things and a bit of help with something. But let's go, right. So, Northampton General Hospital, we are a 713-bedded acute hospital servicing the community of nearly 250,000 people in the Northamptonshire area and the surrounding villages and districts. My Portering team look after the emergency departments, the maternity teams, the obstetrics wards, the pharmacy, many departments all there, lifting and shifting patients, items, medical gas cylinders, and everything else in between that you can think of around the hospital. Is anyone here with the Portering background? I should be one or two in the back there. Fantastic. Thank you very much. So, anyone who works in the NHS will have seen these 6 words. We've always done it this way, being rolled out amongst your teams. When I came into the hospital 4 or 5 years ago, we had a team of 70 porters who were siloed into different departments. The A&E porters, the radiology porters, the general pool, and we always do it this way. We are the A&E porters. We are the radiology porters. You can't move us from there. We can't do that. One of the first things that I found when I came in from my previous role, it was, Paul, can you come and do some MI for us and produce some information about how busy the hospital and the portering service is? And I was given a stack of paperwork about that thick. There's a month's paperwork from this team, this one from this team, this one from this team. Can you go through it all and collate all the handwritten notes about when the porters have done their work, who's done it, what they've actually moved? Obviously, that's taken a huge amount of time to do, so we're trying to find something that's going to be a bit slicker and give us a bit more information a bit quicker as well. Also trying to look at the problem of the not my job mentality. As you say, you've got the 6 siloed teams that are there, trying to say to someone, you are standing next to a patient that needs to go from this department down to radiology. Yeah, but I'm an A&E porter, so I'm going to be going now. We can't do that. Another thing we had was the disparity in workload across the teams. You would have the radiology porters, 6 porters looking at 120 transfers every day on an average, versus the general pool of porters where an individual one might do 8 or 9 transfers, and they would be living pretty easy, sitting there, coming back to the department, having a cup of coffee, when you've got the other guys running around like crazy people around the hospital. And the porter's journey across the trust. Again, I was finding that there were porters, because of this, not my team, not my problem, they would literally be passing each other empty-handed, going from a ward or to a ward where they just left to pick up another patient. So all of these things were our problems, and we're looking out there to try and find, is there a solution that I can bring in that will hopefully try and solve some of these problems? So what I wanted, a new team layout, getting better data quality out of the system rather than a stack of handwritten notes that were just sometimes illegible, sometimes not written in a timely manner. Getting the team back together, doing a general portering team rather than this, well, I'm an A&E porter, you're an X-ray porter, I don't talk to you, you're not one. And making the whole workload for the portering team just feel a bit fairer because, again, the disparity in workload, some porters were coming at the end of the day saying, I can't work on A&E or X-ray for the next, give me a week off from there, please, put someone else in there. So, we found a system that we liked the look of. We worked with them to try and see if it would work at our trust, what we needed to do, how the best way of implementing it was going to be. And some of the main challenges we found were these. The training of the ward staff. They were very used to just picking up the phone and saying, hello porters, can I have someone down here? Quick as you can, please, got a patient needs to go to X-ray. Getting out there and saying you need to put all this information onto a system, getting that consistent drumbeat of what you need to do and the way in which you need to get the message across to us to say you needed a porter was very, very important. It let us build in the quality of the information we were coming out. It let us also make sure that we were doing the jobs in a fair task order as well in terms of the importance of the jobs, rather than someone saying, I need this now, and then almost trying to jump the queue. The challenge is also getting the comms out to the team, trying to introduce anything to a historical team that's been working in the department for 10, 15 years. You try and introduce something new. The very first thing we had was, you're trying to monitor us, you're trying to track what we're doing and where we're going. I'm seeing the nodding faces in the crowd, this is fantastic. I'm not just an isolated person here. So they're saying, no, we can't possibly do this. You're trying to track what we're doing. So trying to get that message out this, it's not about trying to do this, it's about trying to make the work fairer for you. It's about trying to make sure that you're the right person in the right place at the right time. The day one snagging, with the best will in the world, when we launched this, we thought we had everything buttoned up, closed off. Again, the shaking heads, this is good. I'm striking a good chord. We went live, and we even tried to roll it out to A&E. We're very, very ambitious on day one. And within 3 or 4 hours, we were told, no, shut it down in A&E, it doesn't work for here. Just because the nursing staff had decided that they don't feel involved enough. There were new staff that had come in. It didn't work for them. So we immediately had to try and backtrack and try and work out how we were going to relaunch it out to A&E later on. That's still ongoing. And the clear plan for the user, making sure that our staff knew what they were doing, they'd had the chance to get training, ask the questions, speak to the developers of the system as well to make sure that the system worked for them, make sure that the supervisors, the porters involved, myself and collecting the information, we all knew what was going on and we could all get that information in the right way so we could produce some good information out of it. So some of the outcomes that I've had from launching this, we've had it for, I'm going to say, near enough 18 months now. Fewer phone calls into the office. Got a very small portering supervisor's office. I'm not sure if anyone has supervisors that are, you've got an office that's meant for 2 or 3 people. You've got about 6 crammed in there with 2 phones and 3 PCs. So I've got all my supervisors in there, and they are trying their best to get the workload out as best they can. Fewer phone calls just gives them a bit of headspace to actually be able to work out the plan and get things delivered properly. Better quality in our time and motion. That was a huge one, trying to explain to people that how busy we actually are at 8 o'clock in the morning versus 5 o'clock. It's not the same because the porters were going, I've done the jobs here, here, and here. But actually 15 jobs have come in at this time, and they've only been able to do 2 or 3 jobs. So it's stretched out that demand and let us really make a good go at putting in the rota that's right for the team, right for the service delivery for the patient as well. Clearer audit timelines on transfers. That's a really big one. Just last week, I had a phone call from our site manager on a Saturday afternoon. Shouldn't have picked up the phone, but there we go, saying, Paul, there's been a patient left on the ward for 6 hours. No one's come and collected them. They need to go now. When we've done this, gone into the timeline of when the job was actually requested, it had been 40 minutes. The ward staff had tried to basically say that the porters haven't come and collected this patient. They're holding up a bed. It's your fault. We've been able to turn around and say, hang on a minute. No, let's direct the action where it needs to be, back down to the ward staff to make sure that the ward staff are being accountable for what they should be doing, telling us in a timely manner so we can get those patients transferred across. And a clear plan for the workload throughout the day. I've got this screen of all of the jobs that are going on throughout the whole of the trust, so the internal side of it, for even the jobs that the porters are doing in the department, as well as what's going on for the patient transfers, is all out there for the site management team, the ward departments. Everyone knows where the porters are. So there's none of this, you're prioritising my job as someone else's, or you're not coming to get us, you've left us for 3-4 hours without getting a patient. Everyone's got the start of the plan throughout the day. They can see when these patient transfer peaks are, and also they're actually talking to us on a regular sense. I can see you're really busy, so we're going to look to put some jobs here, and they actually, by that bit of communication, lets us plan when our staff are coming in, lets us keep guys back, just ready to sort of deliver what's going on there. Everything comes in. There were negatives as well. Not everyone had the message when it was first coming out. So there were ward staff coming in, bank and agency, who had never used the system, never seen the system, hadn't been tied into the comms. The first couple of weeks, it was, I don't know what we're doing here, we can't do this, we're going to have to keep phoning up you out of hours. So there was a lot of back and forth from my supervisors going out to the wards and the departments, training the staff, reiterating what's going on, giving them the training packs again and again and again. But eventually the message has gone out there, and we have very few phone calls now coming to the office, and most of the jobs get put on very quickly, very slick, and the job workload is planned for the day, but by the time we get in for 9 o'clock. And again, another thing in the NHS, it worked fine before. Why are we changing these things? It was just trying to explain to people the reasons why we're doing this. Getting that better audit process, allowing us to have more control over where the porters are, what they're doing, and how they're collecting patients and cylinders and medication and everything else, and getting it around the trust. Why haven't you done my job yet? The seeing of this huge list of patient transfers that are on there, and there might be one job that's been there for 25 minutes where someone else's has gone on after and been picked up before. Trying to explain to the staff that just because you've put your job on here, we need to look at where the logistics are in the trust. I don't know the layouts of most of the trusts here, but our Northampton General is a 46-acre site that's just spread out. It only goes up 1 or 2 levels. It's a very, very wide hospital. So porters do a lot of miles during the day, on average about 13 to 14 miles of walking, pushing patients and other equipment. So we were trying to, again, get the message out there that it's the right person in the right place with the right bit of kit to do the job. So again, That was one of the negatives we experienced, but now most of the ward staff understand the methodology behind it, and they know we're not leaving them on purpose. It is because we're trying to make sure we've got the right pair of hands ready to do their job. And staff finding their own way of using the system. Despite having nice clear guidelines of when you would pick up a job, how you'd start the job, complete it, and the timings in between, just deciding to do things a little bit differently because that works for me, or staff going out of the office and doing things out of hours at the end of the day. So suddenly, instead of me trying to have a capture of 30 jobs that have been done, on average handling of 25 minutes, you find that 25 of those jobs have been done in about 3 minutes because the supervisor's just gone, accept that, start, complete, accept that, start and complete it very, very quickly because the job's been done, but they've been out doing it rather than using the system to its fullest. So it stops us having any good management information coming out of it. Stops me building business cases for more portering staff as well. But all that being said, still would recommend it. So if anyone is looking to digitise bits and pieces and go on to portering or workload management systems, it's definitely proved its dividends. My productivity within the team's gone up by about 10 to 15% just in patient transfers within our radiology department. You know, on average, we're now looking at doing 140 transfers in and around radiology a day, and that is being comfortably managed by the team. It's not just down to the 6, 7 porters. It's now being picked up by the whole 15, 20 porters that might be on shift, just coming in, dipping in, and going off again with patients. There's a lot more flexibility to respond within the team because you're not just saying, well, it's a radiology transfer, keep using that example, I apologise, and I've only got 6 porters. You've suddenly got access to the entirety of the portering team that can all come in. So even if there's 5 or 6 transfers get put on at the same time, suddenly the whole suite of porters turns up, takes the patients and goes. Much, much easier to produce management information that's good quality that I can feed up the line to my managers and directors because I'm seeing everything as it happens and I'm able to interrogate the information a lot quicker rather than here's a wad of handwritten log sheets for you to go through and start collating this manually on an Excel spreadsheet. It's the right porter in the right place at the right time. We're stopping the walking past each other empty-handed for the portering team. We're stopping the porters walking off and doing other roles and doing other activities, even though there's a patient right there that they could pick up. It's made the team a lot closer and brought them all together. And ultimately, we're delivering for our patients. We're able to turn over those transfers a lot quicker, there's fewer delays, and it is just generally better for the trust as a whole.